in Melbourne at Black Stump. I'm guessing 6 to 8 years ago.
Sorry. It's, Blackstump's in Sydney, but you were in Melbourne with us with Urban Neighbours of Hope when we did a conference together in Melbourne, and then we went to Black Stump. We both went up to Black Stump in Sydney.
Okay.
So that's what.
So we got it figured out now. You might be surprised, but this is the first time I've ever gotten anything wrong. And so I'm glad to.
It was a long time ago. I'm surprised you remember.
Well, we had a good time, and here we are in London. You've moved from.
In Birmingham.
We're in Birmingham. This is getting better all the time. And you left Thailand. I got that right.
You did, yeah.
Left Thailand, and you were having a good time there.
Yes.
But I understand you're having a better time in Britain.
Yeah, well, they're different, but enjoying it now.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the change-making dreams you have.
Sure.
As a person that's seeking to be an influence for Christ, not only in Britain, but you've always been globally focused on making a difference. So I'm intrigued because, as you know, I'm interested in change making with the younger folks too, and yours is, I think, more intergenerational, but tell us about it.
So we're here in Winson Green where Leslie and Bigin used to live and work.
Yes.
And so we're in an old vicarage that we've taken over. So really three things we want to do. We want to be a seedbed for urban change. People coming to grow and learn, but then being replanted in other places. We want to raise up more urban leaders who are resilient and innovative. And we also want to be able to campaign for urban change around the world. So one of the areas where we're doing is an emerging leaders program called Urban Changemakers. And so I don't know if you want to take you through this, but this is a terrific book on how to get a business kind of model together. And my friend Ian Alsop from Australia, who's at Melbourne Business School, runs a social entrepreneurship program, kept challenging us really, saying, look, the state is shrinking, the markets can't be trusted. The third way is social entrepreneurship and being able to do things not for personal profit but for social profit. And
it includes economic cooperatives for you as well.
Yes, it does. Yeah. So really our heartbeat is how can we raise up a new generation of Christian leaders who are able to take that reality seriously. So particularly I'm interested in not just mainstream leaders, but leaders who are sorry, John, we're doing an interview on the...
Yep.
John's helping out. Thank you, John. So the model is who are you trying to engage? And for me, 18 to 30-year-olds are critical. I think, if anything, the change is going to come from that generation. I don't think it'll come from other places, actually.
And that's where we're on exactly the same page. Because in my little book I talk about the millennial generation, this generation you've described as being a whole new reality. Because they're the first digital generation, they're much more aware of economic, racial, and environmental justice.
Yes.
And more importantly, more than boomers, Xers, or any of our generations, a higher percentage want to use their lives for change making.
Yes, they do.
And so I think you're hitting this right at the right time, and I'm so delighted to be here in your home with, I think you've got 40 or 50 other people living with you. It was great tonight. And so walk us through the steps of how you do this, because I think there are a lot of people that are viewing that would like to find out.
Yeah. So I think first of all you have to ask who are you trying to engage, and for us 18 to 30-year-olds who are raw, they're kind of raw, rough diamonds, you're not the ones who already have mainstream. And in England, you've got to understand the privilege, Oxbridge, Cambridge, all that kind of Eton. When you look at the Parliament, and you look at it is very elitist, and actually a whole group of people are frustrated with that and are not getting the opportunity. So we really want to go for the ones who are at the ground level, the grassroots, and help give opportunity. So in this model you ask who are you trying to engage. In a business you would talk about customer, we're talking about participants, and so we want to be able to add value to that group of people. And so the next piece, I don't know if you look at this, so that's who. The next piece actually is here. What value proposition? How can you add value to those 18 to 30-year-olds, raw, ready, brilliant young leaders? How can we add value? And I think one thing that we want to do is actually just get a hold of them together.
Right.
And incubate them, incubate their ideas, incubate their relationships and connections together. Because if we can, year after year, get 20 of these emerging leaders year in, year out, and build the kind of social movement around them, there'll be peers for each other. And often in working class areas, it's people have brilliant ideas, but no connections, no resources, no...
Exactly.
But we can get those folks together from around
Sure.
the country. We feel like we can incubate their ideas
That's great.
and relationships. I think the other thing we can help is a more resilient kind of theology and vision for the world.
Resilient meaning what?
That they're able to take the tough lessons but bounce back and rise up again. And I think a theology of shalom that's holistic, that God,
Yes.
people and place matter together. It's not just God and the individual, but it's God and people and the place where they're at. And that triangle of relationships is really important. And I think that helps people become resilient as well. It's not just individuals, it's social creation.
They feel like they're part of something that the Creator God is up to.
That's right.
And if the Spirit of God can ignite their imaginations, they can be more actively engaged in it.
And then the three kind of skills areas we really want to help people, and we'll work with them over the 12 months so that by the end they're able to launch something. So we want to help people launch campaigns, social campaigns. We want to help people launch social enterprises, and we want to help launch into community neighbourhood change as well. So they're the three areas we want people to focus. Some of them will have experience in this already. Some will have just a little bit of one of the areas. But by the end of the time, we want them to be able to launch out with one of those into one of those three areas.
Ash, what is the time frame that you're working with?
Yeah, working with them over 12 months.
12 months.
Yeah.
And do you have some kind of ongoing relationship with them beyond that to provide support?
That's right.
And what does that look like?
Well, we hope that will be. So we're launching next year. So it's worth saying we have.
What's the launch date?
It'll be September. I can't remember the date. It'll be September.
September 2017.
Yeah.
Cool.
So one of the so in the model you're asking who are you trying to reach? They're the kind of things we want to add value for them. But then you ask how are you going to do it? And so some of the key activities for us this next little time. The reason we're taking so long to do it rather than just launch out tomorrow is actually we know lots of 18 to 30-year-olds who could fit, but we want to have a national search of finding 20 high quality people who can come together.
That are highly motivated.
Highly motivated, and we think they'll really benefit from a program like this. So we're having a much longer recruitment process so that people get nominated into the process. You can't just apply for it.
Oh, interesting.
So we're looking for, you can nominate yourself, I guess. But then once the nomination process finishes, and we'll want really diverse people, culturally, in terms of race, in terms of backgrounds, but high potential people in raw kind of settings. Then there'll be 9 learning experiences they'll be part of. 3 of those will be intensives. 3 of those will be regional clusters, and 3 of them will be one-on-one coaching.
Okay.
So that by the end of their time, they can launch their initiative. So key activities is important to work out, and then key resources. What resources do you have to make it happen? I'm fortunate to connect with Tim Evans. Tim is from a group. Tim's a big background in local politics. He's been started off with Youth for Christ, like I started off with Youth for Christ.
Sure.
And his group, now that he leads, which is Worth Unlimited is the name of the group.
Okay.
So our group, New Bigin School for Urban Leadership, and Tim's group, Worth Unlimited, are coming together. So between Tim and I, we have, I don't know, too many years' experience to add up. But he's doing some terrific stuff in social entrepreneurship. But one of my favourite projects that Tim does is a bike upcycling and training, and it works with young people. And they've got workers all around, particularly those 3 areas as well. we've obviously got this place here, New Bigin House, where people will come and learn and live and do the intensives based here. We're able to draw on the materials, develop materials, and design the program. So all those things are some of the resources you have. Then very quickly, how are you going to connect with? They're the channels. How are they going to relate back? For us, the idea of alumni social movement is a really important idea. And then you look at the cost structure. What's it going to cost?
Sure.
And then how are you going to get that money in? And then key partners is the other part about it.
And just imagine that we've just gone through a time warp, and it isn't November 2016.
Yeah.
It's January 1st, 2020.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So you've been running this program
Yeah.
for some years. You've had 2-3 classes.
Yeah. Cohorts. Yeah.
Yeah, cohorts.
Yeah.
And tell us a little bit of what you hope we will see January 1st, 2020. Just a few examples.
Yeah, I hope some really innovative. Actually, I think my big hope is that could a social movement emerge of these people coming together, that they would support each other, encourage each other, find new innovative ways. And even if their first attempt to start something didn't work, that new campaigns and social enterprises and neighbourhood change has happened. So yeah, so I would expect new social enterprises. I would love it if some of our alumni would go into politics and take on things. I would love them if they would be involved in legal challenges. I would love them to be involved with.
Do you think some of them can even be involved in the church, helping them find some new ways to work for church?
Yeah. I mean, I think what will what will happen is that these people are the church, and they'll find ways. I think it'll be different to how do we get people into the church. I think it'll be we're doing these great things. How can we join as we go together? This idea of resilience is that there needs to be a spiritual resilience, and you can't do this kind of work by yourself. So you need to band with other people, and that this group will be an expression of the church.
And hopefully there'll be a church that are more focused in the community than in the building.
Yeah, true.
Because the millennials are disappearing from the church, as you know, at a record rate.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons is because they do give a rip about their neighbors.
Yeah.
They're not going to settle for being a part of an institution where 85 to 95% of time and money never leaves the building. So I think you're onto something terribly important.
I do the opposite of your question.
Sure.
What happens if we don't do this?
Sure.
And that is a frightening thing. Imagine, so we've got 60 young emerging leaders with incredible creative ideas are stuck in front of a TV. They're in jail probably because their creativity has to be released somehow.
Find other focus,
They'll all this thing that could bring the change from the church is kind of lost, and I think that's part of my motivation. I see these brilliant young people who they won't stay involved in churches unless something like this helps channel their energies and resources. So, and actually, we see people all the time, young people who were at the crossroads, they had an opportunity, they didn't take it.
Sure.
But a lot of the people we're talking about, unless something quite focused and intentional emerges, they will be lost to themselves, lost to society, and lost to the church. And, and we believe you can love Jesus, love your neighbour, and see the change happen from the ground up.
And you see, where I'm working on the other side of the street, trying to wake pastors and leaders in the church up to the tremendous opportunity that's here. What you're doing, inviting the ideas, creativity, change-making capabilities of a new generation. And if it takes hold, it could change the church into being there for the neighborhood instead of for the gathered.
Yes, and I'd be saying to those leaders, can you nominate some young people that you see there before it's too late, and recognise that actually not everything will happen inside your building. You can nominate these folks, and they will help bring about the renewal in your neighbourhood, and to look out and try and identify them. The tragedy is a lot of churches just are no longer in contact with this kind of group.
No, that's true. But the churches also, I've seen in one church in the States, of older people who get it, that are business people, that are attorneys,
Yeah.
that are willing to pro bono their time to be a part of this
Yes,
effort.
that's right.
And so that's the other possible connection that could
Yes.
really help what you're doing launch.
Yes, the coaching of these. We're going to need 20 coaches.
Well, and you need attorneys and all these
Yeah.
people that know how to build the structures.
Yes.
So God bless you. I am so glad
Thank you.
to find not just a good friend that we met someplace, sometime back in Australia, but I am so excited by what God is stirring up for you and Angie, and the kinds of things that you're anticipating.
Yeah.
We want to be promoters.
Mm.
So will you let us know through our little efforts how we can put a window on this
That'd be great.
for good friends everywhere?
That'd be great. Thank
Okay,
you.
God bless you.
Bless you. And thank you for all your inspiration over the years. You've opened the doors and opportunities for so many of us. I'm so
Well,
grateful.
yeah.